Hello everyone, welcome to CLAT Simplified. This is Siddharth Mehta, author of CR Nuggets for Law Exam. So in today's video, we will be discussing the passage number 4 of the English section of CLAT 2021. I'm sure that you must have watched my previous videos in which I have discussed at length the first three passages of the English section of CLAT 21. So today we will be discussing passage number 4. So let us begin. This is the passage. If you want, you can stop the video and read it. I will then focus upon the key areas of the passage, and then of course we will look at solving different type of questions. So you can stop the video and read it. Right. So I think you must have read the passage by this time. Let us see what are the important areas according to me. So let me read the passage. Following the transition to democracy with the inauguration of Nelson Mandela as president in 1994, South Africa was faced with task of dealing with its past as well as taking some action to deal with structural social injustice. So the first two, three lines basically sets the context of what is going to come next. It's like a background. So the way we have read so many stories in the school days, it begins with the historical context. So the first few lines sets the historical context of what is going to come next. That when the transition to democracy happened, what was the situation in South Africa? So these lines are the ones for which the entire passage is written. The Truth Reconciliation Commission (TRC) heralded as the most ambitious and organized attempt to deal with the crimes of past regime through a concept of truth came into force on 19th July 1995 in South Africa. So basically, what is the link between the two sentences? I mean, the first one, which was the historical context, and the second one. The first one sets the context, and second one tells that what they did to as the first sentence talks about that they had to deal with the past and also do something about the social injustice. So what did they do? They came up with the TRC, Truth and Reconciliation Commission. So the lines in blue are the factual information about the TRC and what was its purpose. So here it is given that the purpose of TRC was this. All right. Then the lines in yellow, because there is word although here, which means that author is now trying to suggest what has happened vis-a-vis what was actually expected to happen. Although is a switch word. So it says that although the TRC incorporated these broader concerns in the mandate of three subcommittees, they were disregarded in practice. So now what the purpose of the passage becomes? Purpose of the passage becomes that TRC was introduced to deal with the past and also to reform the structural social injustice. The main idea behind the TRC is mentioned, what where its broad objective is mentioned, and then author says that the objectives were disregarded in practice, and these lines in yellow tells us why author is saying that. So these are basically the evidences for author's view on why they were disregarded. So these are the important things. Remaining things are, of course, I'm not saying that not at all important, but if you want to identify the main idea and what the passage is about, it lies here. And the author actually goes on to explain in the later part that is from this part to this part, that what was the problem with TRC, why they were not able to execute the broader agenda in the practice. So that is the purpose of the passage. Let us see the question. The status quo as used in the passage means the status. See, even if somebody has not read the passage, the status quo means the existing situation. That's it. That's the meaning of the status quo. But if you do not know the meaning, then also you can guess it from here. Rather than pursuing truth and justice as an integrated feature of social transformation, the commissioners and to a greater extent the government of South Africa maintained an agenda that avoided a challenge to the status quo. So rather than pursuing truth and justice, what they did is they tried to avoid a challenge to the status quo. So reading from this line, it seems that the status quo is the things the way they are existing. Plus, even in the previous line, it is mentioned, shaped by the historical context of this particular transition, the TRC was careful not to rock the structural board. Not to rock the structural board means not to disturb the existing thing. So from these two lines again, we can say that answer has to be already existing condition. Let us see. Previously, popular opinion. It is not about popular opinion. If anything, it should be about the government. Yeah, right. Maintain an agenda to avoid a challenge to the government. But how can it be government? Because how can government avoid challenge to the government? So government avoiding something something which they do not want to disturb, and that is the existing condition. So that is why B is the answer. The strategies of government cannot come here, because how can, as I said, how can government try to challenge its own strategy? Following a set agenda, that's incomplete. Following a set agenda looks a decent enough option, but set agenda of whom or what? So better is already existing conditions. So that's why answer is B. Which of the following best describes the tone of the author? Now, if you look at what is the main idea of the author, of the entire passage, it is about the TRC, why TRC was heralded, and how TRC did not live up to its expectation. So the basic tone is negative. So it cannot be optimistic. It cannot be compassionate. Compassionate means having a feeling of empathy or something of that sort. Threatening is a negative, and critical is also negative. So threatening means something. I mean, threatening means author is frightened of something. So again, we don't find anything of that sort. All we can say is critical. Author is critical of the way TRC worked. So all we can say is the tone is critical. Not the best answer, but yeah, of course, the best available out of the four, and that is why D is the answer. I mean, this can be arrived by eliminating the other three options. Which of the following is not the broader concern of Truth and Reconciliation Commission? A very close question, if you see. Which of the following is not the broader concern? To deal with the crimes of past regime through a concept of truth. Now, it is mentioned here. So this has to be this has to be a concern. To acknowledge past suffering. Let us read the other line. Emerging as a political strategy to acknowledge past suffering. Yeah, of course, when this is also there. While promoting a future based on concerns of social justice, the rule of law, and reconciliation. To emerge as political strategy for reconciliation of rule of law. This also looks like the something which is being mentioned. To promote a future based on the concerns of social justice. This also is mentioned. To promote a future based on concerns of social justice. This also is mentioned. So what is the answer? If everything is mentioned. Now, in this particular question, even I had to read it twice so that I can understand what is the problem. I am able to identify that there is a trap of scrambled option. So there is perhaps one option which has mixed up the words here and there, but but does not convey the idea in proper sense. So let us see. To deal with the crimes of past regime through a concept of truth. To deal with the crimes of past regime to concept of truth. This is given. Even this is given. Let us look at C. To emerge as a political strategy for reconciliation of rule of law. Let us read this. Emerging as political strategy to acknowledge past suffering while promoting future based on concerns of social justice, the rule of law. So it is the right answer. I mean, this is something which is not the broader concern. So answer is C. Why this is not the broader concern? Because if you see it, what is the broader concern? Broader concern is to acknowledge past and promote a future. Promote a future based on the concerns of social justice. Let me call it A. This is B. So future has to be based, the promotion of future has to be based on three things. Concerns of social justice, that is A. The rule of law and reconciliation, that is B. And what has happened in this option? This option is scrambled. The words have been picked up from both A and B, and one option has been formed. So this is definitely not conveying the idea. Answer is option number C. Which of the following statement is least likely to be inferred from the passage? It is least likely. The TRC ignored some of the broad concerns. This is definitely given. The subcommittee of TRC lacked an agenda on social transformation. I think even this is given. The TRC made earnest effort to protect human rights. This is completely opposite of what is being mentioned. This is anti-trap in it. So answer has to be C. Now, if you see, lot many questions can be solved by applying our traps strategy. What does amnesty mean in the context of the passage? I mean, amnesty means forgiving someone. So answer has to be D. even in the context of the passage, if I have to find, all other options are very far from word like forgiving or pardon. So I don't have to go back and check. Answer is option number D. So that is it for this passage. I hope you learned how to apply traps, because in this particular passage there were three questions in which traps could have been directly helped you to identify the right answer. Thank you very much.